we ask for everyone's goals. And when you say it out loud, it kind of sounds weird that we're asking for their individual goals in and of themselves, not regards to, in the beginning, it's kind of in that silo. And we ask that for a purpose. Everyone looks at problems and issues in different light, and we really didn't truly want to have any influence in there. We wanted everyone's ideas. And from that, we're going to take here the rest of the month of February with the DDCs and look at the goals. And as a district, we'll have shared goals, but we truly wanted everyone's opinion. So that was the start. So as Dave and I have been preaching at Change Watches, you truly have a voice in shaping the district. We are all ears. We're here, we're in this together. So in this session here, our focus teams breakout session, this isn't the beginning of the conversation, nor is it the end. This is just the kind of think and get the creative juices flowing and get some things down the paper. And hopefully you'll continue the conversation, you'll take the sheets. So you have the instructions on how to read them to you, but as you see, does everyone, or does anyone not have one of these sheets? If they don't, Penny or Thornell, just raise your hand and they'll give you one of these sheets. And as you see, the table tents around the area. So, for instance, like number one, DDC response and District Flight Safety Officer, AV is with one. So, find your table tent around the area. This is, because we are running a little behind schedule, it would be an abbreviated session. Because we do need to be on time, we'll spend about a half an hour on this and take a break. So we're here in our chairs. Our speaker will be starting at 16:30. Or Sam, that should be correct. That is correct. Yep. So we need to be promptly on that. So, with that said, let's break into our groups. Use this as a guide. Look at those questions, and this is pretty quick. It's only 30 minutes to stimulate activity, think, and discuss how we can move the district forward. So let's break into our groups. Final recommendation regarding our budget, increasing the ADSO, the Assistant District Staff Officer, numbers that are presently on the 2015 district budget, where we have a line item for 43. And there, as it is read now, is they get a $200 stipend, if you will, stipulated if they attend D-Train. As we have added positions, Dave and I feel that this district staff officer should be managing the ADSOs. Plus, with the incorporation of the Incident Management Preparedness new staff officer, which is Paul Moran, will be adding ADSOs for that, along with two special ADSOs. One for Everbridge, which Donna Gilroy is kind of having that had already, which will become an official ADSO position, and one for Skills Bank. Would bring that number to 65. So this would add an additional $4,400 to the budget. if the board would approve it. That being said, I would entertain a motion to change that line item from 43 to 65 regarding the access.
So moved.
So moved by Bruce Johnson. Do we have a second? Second, Don Goff, 25. Discussion.
First.
Nice. All right. We have 43 for this year, and we look at item number 7, and it's in parentheses there for the ATSOs. It lists that it must attend the February district conference for 2015. Why are we adding anything if they're not attending already? Is this, well, maybe it's 2 questions, sorry. Second one, is this for 2015 or is this for 2016 budget?
2015, which hopefully as we go forward, it would continue. So I look at it as, recognizing those assets will be spent. And as we stated historically, unfortunately, not many ASOs take advantage of that opportunity.
So would this be better proposed at the September meeting?
Perhaps.
2016 budget versus the 2015, because we're not adding them, they're not here.
Good discussion. The motion's still on the floor. Point taken. Anything else? Alan? You could give on exercise, Scott.
Sponsored by Nike, is that right? It occurs to me that if we're only using approximately 25% of this money anyways, why do we need to amend the budget? It seems like we have sufficient funds without amending the budget.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, Jim.
There's a memo, I couldn't find it, but we're not funding the division vice commander's travel, but we're going to fund ADSO travel, is that correct?
No. We, once again, with orders and the budget constraints and travel, DIROCS cannot give orders to the vice division commanders for this conference. Thankfully, in our 2015 approved budget, there is a line item in there to fund them. And I forwarded that, information that they will not be in orders, but district is covering them on orders. That was an approved motion, it's approved line item in that. This is a separate line item for ADSOs that is not concurrent with the amount that we have presently. Does that answer your question or not?
I feel like we should table this issue until September.
You moving the table?
I'd like to move that we table this issue till September.
Okay. Let's move. And with that, we'll be on our first break. Let's reconvene here in, I'm sorry. Thank you. So we have the motion to table. We have a second. We'll call the vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Yeah. Gotcha. John, as legal. We have a motion on the floor.
I'm sorry, I was looking at something else. What?
We have a motion on the floor. Now we have a motion to table. We got to clear that first motion out first, correct?
The first motion needs to be cleared before proceeding to the second.
Yep.
But John, the tabling is a subsidiary motion. The tabling is to call a motion, the previous motion to be tabled. So there has to be a vote. Is there agreement in the room to table the primary motion?
Right.
That vote has to be taken first before this other one. In other words, that one becomes a subsidiary motion.
It comes off today.
Right?
Okay, I do not have my Robert's Rules of Order here at the table. I'm going to have to take you at face value on that. I'm not going to disagree with you.
Okay. have a training class this weekend on Robert's Rules.
Well, I have a copy of it, and it's up in the room.
Okay. So we have a motion to table, it has been seconded. Let's call that vote on tabling. All those in favor of table, please raise your hand. Keep them up high.
I see 14.
Those against?
2, 3, 4, 5. 14 to 5. Vote. 14 yes.
So the motion carries the table. And then the subsidiary motion dies? Yep, it's table. Gotcha. Thank you. With that, let's take a 10-minute break. We'll reconvene here sharply at 15:35. Thank you.
I have some questions about assignment to duty and how that's going to be handled and how are they going to be covered when they're paying their own travel?
Good question. That I would defer to the Director of Assignment to Duty. How would we cover that if we're self-funding their assignment to duty?
Well, as far as when you're traveling, well, when we're talking about self-funding, exactly how are we speaking? Because when we travel to other functions or the association pays, or district funds are used to move folks around, you're on assignment to duty at that point. So it will be the same, whatever rules are governing that will be the same. Otherwise, we'll find out that none of us are covered when we're traveling on the division or the district funds. So we'll make sure they're covered, but what it is that the DIROC funds aren't going to be used for this profit-making entity. Okay, if they should be able to be self-sustaining. Whether the money goes right into the budget, you turn around and put a line item there like it was recommended, or whether they take it out, and just make it one of their expenses. So when we get the balance sheet at the end of the year, it says you traveled these things. And or the other option was they've been funded in the past where the division that wanted them or the sector that wanted them up there kicked in somehow for mileage or for lodging, whatever. Obviously, it depends. The longer they stay someplace or further distance, the more cost will be involved. If you're talking just a kind of an in and out kind of thing, obviously, whether they're cost sharing that with utilities or what have you, it's just that the money won't be coming from DIROC anymore. But yes, they will be covered. Assignment to duty.
That was my concern, that, if something happens to them, that they're covered just like we would be covered if we were traveling to the borders.
John Maxwell, anything in that regards to assignment to duty?
No.
Okay. And Sherry.
For clarification purposes, the $2,000 that we're allocating for 2015 will come out of what they made this year, correct, from this E-Train, not out of the current budget, correct?
Well, it's all reconciled into the same. It's a wash, we can do that.
That's what I'm trying to, it's not going to affect the budget as currently has already been voted on last year.
Well, the proposal, the motion on the floor is to add a line item
Right.
to our 2015 approved budget in the amount of $2,000.
Right, I just want the clarification.
So it would change our budget, the way the motion is. Is adding a line item to that.
Take the jacket off first.
Any other discussion?
Okay, so
ask Peter to restate his motion.
The motion is to add a line item. Motion is to add a line item in the 2015 budget of $2,000 to cover the travel costs of the material store to the speed train.
Okay, motion restated. We have a second. Call to a vote. Well, we had a motion, we had a second discussion. Correct, Dan? We had a motion, we had a second. No, we already had a second. That's why I'm asking if you had that reported as such. You did, correct. Calling the vote. All those board members in favor, please raise your right hands. Those opposed? So, you got that in? 2 opposed. Three. Raise your hands again to those opposed, please.
Undecided, is it down at 10, say yes.
Thank you very much. And you're heading up north to catch up from here? Okay. Take advantage of the long weekend and the holiday weekend. So thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here. Secretary Roads, Captain Keene, please share us your thoughts. Thank you, sir.
Sure. It's great to be here. Michelle, looking forward to a good year with you as a new district captain. I'm not going to echo all the words from Megan and Sean, but in short, we really can't do what we need to do without the auxiliary. And Hampton Roads, the Port of Virginia is going through some major growing pains. Container ship traffic now is more than it ever has been. They've made, I think, 8 consecutive monthly profits, and this year they're outpacing the last year. We've got Bakken crude, LNG, LPG. That's all new lines of business for us. We've got a wind farm, and we've got a consolidated DOT that's using more and more of the water space. So we've got some unique challenges which are really stretching the gold side of the house pretty thin. So our auxiliary team really is critical for us being successful down there. And we, like I said, we couldn't do it without it. And we've been extremely blessed to have such a fortunate and hardworking group out there, from our watchstanders to our aux chefs to our flotillas. So I just want to talk about some of the upcoming events. We've got our Secretary Hampton Roads training, 27 March to 1 March and 7 March. It's going to be at Yorktown. The 4-day event's going to have 11 different classes, including TCT, ATON verifier, auxiliary lambs, aux weather, aux air, and a few other things. We've got, for those folks at Smith Mountain Lake, the age are now up to Coast Guard standards, so we're going to be working with Flotilla 81 to take on the additional mission of ATON verifications on Smith Mountain Lake. That's one of the most challenging lakes for just for the recreational boating traffic. Our 20-foot Coast Guard vessel is going to be going to Claytor Lake this year. They've got a great program with Virginia Tech, and we're going to hope to use that platform to continue to get some of those younger folks into the auxiliary. We've actually had a couple apply to OCS with that auxiliary program, so we're excited about our partnership with Virginia Tech. I'm going to try to make it even better with the use of our 20-footer. We've got our DSAR coming up at Yorktown in August, our annual event. It's a great time for our auxiliary folks to showcase all their stuff and compete against those auctioneers from Maryland and North Carolina. Looking forward to that. More closer in time is Harbor Fest. It's going to be a big event this year. Eagles back in town for that one. And then a week after that, it looks like we may have 5 other tall ships coming in, led by the Hermione, who's going up to Megan's place up in Baltimore. So that's going to be interesting as we kind of work through that event. Some lake schedules. This is all funding pending, and funding right now is a huge issue for all of us, but we're looking to do some lake ups. We cleared our lake up in April. Memorial Day weekend, we should be up there with Smith Mountain Lake and Claytor Lake. In July, we'll be back up at Smith Mountain Lake. Labor Day, same thing, Smith Mountain Lake and Claytor Lake. Station Little Creek is going to be looking to get out to Curry Lake in July and in June. And Station Chincoteague will be getting out to Lake Gadsden probably the last week of August. And Safer in Open Haven will be supporting our group up in Lake Anna, and that's pretty much a regular occurrence. So they've got a great relationship, and proximity really helps out. But again, in closing, we can't do what we do without you. We've got 250,000 registered recreational boaters in Virginia, so that's 250,000 people who are out having fun, not paying attention. Seriously not paying attention. And what you do out there, that on-water presence is huge. Just being out there and being visible helps folks be a little bit better attuned. I always tell the folks, my kids live up in Fredericksburg, and they go to Lake Caroline every summer with some friends, and you can't put a boat on the water in Lake Caroline unless that Lake Anna detachment comes down and gives you a safe boating class. So I really appreciate all that you do, because I know what you do keeps my kids safe on Lake Caroline. So looking forward to a great year. Hopefully the budget will work its way out and we'll be able to continue moving. And thanks for letting me be here today.
Immediately following this session, we're going to have that jazz extravaganza that's going to take place. That's going to begin at 6:30. Be a pre-function out in the hallway prior to that. I think you're going to be excited. It's Rise the Band and Show, and we have some of the most outstanding food I've had a chance to sample, so I know what you're in store for. We certainly hope that you're going to be with us and be able to enjoy the evening.
Thanks, Sam. Once again, thank you for everybody being here. Special guests sitting in front of us. We'll be getting doing their reports at first, but Commander Dean from Sector Baltimore, Captain Sean Northrow from Sector North Carolina, and Captain Keene from Sector Hampton Road. So we appreciate you being here and your busy schedules today. Our past district commodores, starting on my far left, Al DeJean, Ev Tucker, and Steve McElroy. So thank you. Thanks for everyone being here. Starting out on our reports, if you would, Commander Dean, representing Sector Baltimore, if you would, and I know we got a wireless mic for you. Right behind you, Bill Howard. If you would share your thoughts, please.
Sure. Thanks for having us today. To begin with, I'd like to recognize Warren Hall, the district captain for Sector Baltimore, as well as John Galeazzi, our auxiliary sector coordinator. Thank you both very much. Couldn't do it without you. I'd also like to recognize our outgoing 2014 division commanders, Rob Fiedler, Larry Hill, Dan McConnell, Warren Hall, and Jerry Little. Thank you all very much for all your support in 2014. We continue to appreciate the operational support received, including communication watchstanders at our stations. I don't know if Jeff Schneider's here, but Captain Kiefer asked me to extend a thank you to him. He stood the watch on December 25th when the captain came by with his son Brandon to drop off some cookies for the watch. So we wanted to say thanks to Jeff Schneider for that. We also appreciate the support for the safety and security zones, which recently included the ICP support for the State of the Union address on the 20th of January of last month. It also came to my attention that the Coast Guard Yards asked for our Coast Guard auxiliaries help as well. My understanding is they've had 10 Sector Baltimore auxiliaries volunteer to assist the Coast Guard Yard Police Department's front desk and dispatch. I'm sure not many people are aware of this, but the gym hours got reduced at the Coast Guard Yard because the police department's so small they were having to pull some of the watchstanders from the gym to augment the police department. So the duties will be similar to that of the communications watchstander, but as a gym patron, I'm hoping that this additional workforce will, I guess I'm naively hoping this additional workforce will expand the gym hours again, but I just want to say thank you all for that support. That's above and beyond. And I know it doesn't feel like it from the sub-zero temperatures outside, but National Boating Safety Week will be on before we know it. It's already in the middle of February, and it kicks off the busy SAR season. In preparation for the boating seasons, our auxiliaries have continued their safety and outreach and education programs, really critical to keeping our waterways safe. And I know Captain Kiefer looks forward to joining you all at the sector workshop in March. A couple of boating safety initiatives I know are already in the works. Talking with Warren Hall and John Galeazzi before this. All 5 divisions, it sounds like we're going to be participating in a couple of initiatives that take place in Annapolis and Sandy Point, and that'll also involve participation with the Power Squadron and DNR. And then I was at the District 25 Change of Watch this last weekend and talking with Don Goff about an initiative Division 25 has going in their AOR Last year, we had 3 fatalities in the Aquia Creek area. So they're spearheading an initiative to educate boaters about safe boating habits. During the season, Division 25 identified that the Fairview Beach area and its bars contribute to the higher number of intoxicated boaters in that area. So to combat this high number of fatalities from last season, they're developing a comprehensive public relations program to address safety with recreational boaters. Some of these actions they're going to be taking, they're going to engage boaters at the marinas by walking the docks, starting a dialogue. They'll also be shifting their patrols from Saturday morning to the afternoon and evening periods, hopefully to provide a calming presence on the water for folks. They're going to coordinate with the local power squadron to hand out literature, and along with our folks, active duty folks at Station Washington, they're going to meet with Stafford and Kings George County to work with pre-existing points of contacts for a See Something, Say Something campaign for Ox patrols. So again, appreciate all these initiatives for National Boating Safety Week. Looking ahead in 2015, we look forward to the continued support of the auxiliary. A couple of things we have coming up. In addition to National Boating Safety Week, we have the 2015 World Police and Fire Games coming up. We also have the Blue Angels Air Show in Ocean City in June, and then of course all the 4th of July festivities that take place within the National Cap region, as well as up in Baltimore and Ocean City. I just want to close again by saying thank you for everything that you all do for both the Coast Guard and for Sector Baltimore. Thank you.
Thank you, community. Next up, way down in Sector North Carolina. Sean Martel.
Thank you, Commodore Surson and Chief Staff Adams, and thank all of you for inviting us, as Megan mentioned, and congratulations on all your elections and everything you do for the Coast Guard, and we really appreciate it. Barbara Pullman, thank you for everything you've done for Division 20, and congratulations on your new election to District Captain. We look forward to working with you. And I don't know if Vern Scott's here or not, but we really enjoyed working with Vern, and I know we're going to really enjoy working with you. You're better looking than Vern, so we're looking forward to that. But also to everybody in North Carolina, all the division commanders, congratulations again. And Sherry, I know I missed your change of watch for the 2nd year in a row, but we got a $100 bet on that now, so well, next year I'll be there. And same with you, Al. I don't think I've made one of yours yet either, but I think I'd get to go to a couple of them and meet all of you that I hadn't met and see many of you that I've seen before, so congratulations to all the new division commanders and the vice commanders. Megan touched on a lot of things going on that apply, I think, probably to all the sectors, but we had a great year last year working with the auxiliary, and really appreciate all the support you provide us to allow us to do our missions. We're going to have some busy events this upcoming year too, a lot of different operations on our lakes in North Carolina. Look forward to working with the auxiliary on that. We've got some great exercises coming up at Sector North Carolina that we hope to involve the auxiliary with. We've got a continuity of operations exercise, I believe, taking place second week in April, where we'll move our whole sector staff up to our Coop location, which is actually in Chapel Hill. So, sure, that might be an opportunity to work with your division there. It should be a good event. As always, we practice and train and get prepared for hurricane season, which is right around the corner too, unfortunately. And there's going to be a big District 5 hurricane severe weather exercise taking place, I believe, in May. And we look forward to working with the auxiliary on that. Safe Boating Week. Commander Dean brought that up, and we always appreciate the support that the auxiliary provides us in educating the boating public for that. I did hear somebody mention, kind of mention about sequestration, talking about the budget, and as probably most of you know, we're still under a continuing resolution for the Coast Guard under Homeland Security, which I think ends on February 27th. I think the consensus is that there'll probably be another short-term CR, and this will continue as Congress and administration try to figure out the immigration bill and policies. One thing I would challenge both the gold side and the silver side, or as I like to call you, the platinum side, is to think back to a year and a half ago when we had a partial government shutdown in October of 2013. And it was something I was kind of adamant about too, is that I think the Coast Guard would be a little overly conservative about what the auxiliary could do for us in that time frame. And I think as it went along, and I was working with Steve on this, we got a little bit better in terms of getting our thoughts out there. But it was understood that we probably couldn't give out orders and to do some of the traditional missions that you do. But there's a lot of stuff that the volunteers, the auxiliary does for the Coast Guard that we need, and there's not a better time to use the auxiliary to help us man the communication centers and help us cook meals, etc., than when we have a partial government shutdown. So hopefully that dialogue's continuing, and if we do have to, unfortunately, get to government shutdown, we'll be more prepared for that. But beyond that, I just want to thank everybody for everything you do for us. We really appreciate it, and that's not just the words that we just say. You really do mean a lot to us, and it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Chief of Staff, would you lead us, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. Michael Rudolph, you give an invocation, please.
Thank you.
Good Mike.
Almighty God, His great commandment is that we shall love our neighbors as ourselves and love Him, and who has taught us that we should do to others as we would have them do to us. We ask your blessing upon the work of this District 5 South leadership as it commences in this series of meetings. As our purpose is to serve our fellow citizens, the Coast Guard, and our nation, we pray that you will lead us by your Spirit and enlighten our minds with a clear vision for your will. May the work that we do here bear fruit worthy of our ideals and your expectation of us. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Please be seated. All right. Call this meeting to order. That Dan, Secretary of Records, if he would please do a roll call, please.
Yes, sir. District Commodore Rob Servison.
Present.
District Chief of Staff David Adams. Present. Immediate task. District Commander Bob Moran. Okay. You're not past, you're still with us. Dialogues, Commander Stephen Pasco. Present. District Captain, North Carolina, NC, will be Barbara Pullman.
Present.
District Captain, Hampton Roads, Michelle Thornton.
Present.
District Captain for Baltimore, Warren Hall. Present. Division Commander for 3, Peter Kirkpatrick. Present. Division Commander 5, Alfred Koch. Present. Division Commander 6, Richard Egnor. Present. If I slaughter anybody's names, apologies. Division Commander 8, Clara Lowe. That's all right.
Susan.
Susan Lowe. Thank you for the correction. All right. Division Commander 9, Sherry Spillman.
Present.
Division Commander 10, Ernest Arlott. Present. Division Commander 12, Frederick Gleam. Present. Division Commander 16, Alan Fred. Present. Division Commander 20, Heinz Rister. Present. Division Commander 21, Joyce Turner.
Present.
Division Commander 22, Bruce Johnson.
Present.
Division Commander 23, Ronald Price.
Present.
Division Commander 24, Suzanne Smith. Division Commander 25, Donald Goff.
Present.
Division Commander 26, Harold Kennel.
Present.
And past President of the Division Commanders Association, Stephen Elroy. McElroy, excuse me. How many times have we spelled that? Present. All are present and accounted for. Commonwealth.
Thank you, Dan. So we have a quorum present. So once again, welcome. Thank you for being here on this, if you're superstitious, Friday the 13th. So anything that may go wrong, we can blame it on the date. Just want to welcome everyone. We have the beginning of a great year and training for personal growth. By following the leadership of our National Commodore, we will grow personally, we will grow together, and we will remain the best district in the Coast Guard Auxiliary. We need to focus our missions on recreational boating safety. We are providing service to our nation with vigor. It's our duty to our people that must drive our every effort. Getting to know them leads us to identifying their capabilities, matching them with the opportunities we have to improve the way we do business. D-Train here is one of those places we learn about members' interests. Here we can engage them, and from their interaction, begin to learn from each other and create communities where we as members share best practices and information by communicating beyond their personal flotilla, division, or even district. Here we're all exercising our commitment to excellence. We recognize that all members are leaders in some way. We need to help each other keep that always in mind. We'll be launching new areas of excellence, developing focused teams to get us into the 21st century by taking advantage of the technology which is at our fingertips. We all need to understand this and help each other move forward together by learning as much as we can. So let this be the best D-Train we've ever had, and let's not miss any opportunity to get feedback from our members and use it to improve. With that, Dave, you said you had a opening comment?
That wasn't it. We just met as the staff next door, and in our conversation, the DDCs, the DSOs, the staff, and the ADSOs present set the bar as high as we can. For example, we asked Susan Duke to make sure that every flotilla and every division achieve the levels in diversity of the 3-star award. We asked the PA DSO to make sure and to work hard to see that every PA officer in the flotilla and every PA officer in division completed the basic PA course. Rob and I are going to lead by example in this. We have recently finished the PA 21 course, and we're committed to both in the year after next having the Century Award. I want to challenge the division commanders and all present, whether you are a brand new flotilla member or a past Commodore. Get behind the movement, set the bar high, support the people doing the work, and let's set records in supporting the Coast Guard in this year's sequestration. Thank you.
With that, Sam, would you do the plan of the day for us?